We thank the state who has brought additional crews to relieve some of the folks that have been here, but this has been a unified command with engines from across the state, as well as obviously the LAFD and county personnel on site. About 600 police that are around the area as well, safeguarding the homes and property of people that are here. A couple other notes for children whose schools have been closed on the west side and also throughout the San Fernando Valley. The city's rec and parks facilities are open with board games, things to do, activities, and people there for any parents who don't have any other place to take their children or to leave their children. Our libraries are also open, a great place for kids to spend the day today if they're not in school. All of our city libraries remain open during this day as well. We'll hear a little bit more detail from some of the other folks that are here. Let me just give my thanks to our federal, FEMA, and state partners who have just been marvelous with the aid, with the declarations of emergency, and with the mutual aid. We could not have gotten through this without them. We had 2 fixed wings that are still making sure that on the northeast part and the north part of this fire that we can contain it, and the retardant seems to be working there. 2 of them were just pulled off for the fire that erupted in Malibu a little while ago, but that was knocked down quickly, and those fixed wings remain available. We're still using helicopters here. Turning to the creek fire real quick as well, we have also made some inroads since last night. It is now 10% contained. That's up from 5% earlier. That is 12,605 acres now is the size of that as well. We have 15 structures that were destroyed and 15 that were damaged, with about 2,500 structures that were threatened and remain threatened. We have over 1,680 personnel on site at the creek fire. It's where the bulk of our folks remain. 161 engines, we have helicopters, about 47 hand crews, almost 24 dozers there as well. The prediction is, even though this is a time of calm winds, that we will continue to get gusts through Saturday that will be erratic and unpredictable, as high as 50 to 70 miles an hour. As the chief said yesterday, these conditions combined with the heat that is now kind of coming to the area, the dryness, the amount of vegetation, and some of the areas still that have not burned, makes this still a very threatening environment. So even as you see inroads being made, we are going to have an abundance of caution. We want to make sure you are safe and that we don't order people back to their homes or allow people back to their homes any earlier than possible. Our recreation centers remain available, and many people are sheltering in place there. For LAUSD schools that are closed, I want to thank, we have Nick Melvoin here from the school board at lausd.net. You can find that information out as well. I'll say a couple things in Spanish at the end as well for our Spanish stations, but let me turn it over to Chief Terrazas to say a few words as well, and then we'll hear from Mark Ghilarducci, who's the director of Cal OES.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here today. This is the 4th day, the start of the 4th day of a week-long extended weather event. The heavy winds, high winds, are expected to last into Saturday, as well as the red flag conditions. Red flag is when the wind is above 25 miles per hour and the humidity is below 15%. Our weather for today is the following: 4% relative humidity, winds 33 miles per hour out of the northeast. Our brush burning index number is 296. That's something unique to the Los Angeles City Fire Department. That's the highest rating possible. The category starts at 162 and we're at 296. That's the highest number I have ever seen in my 34 years on the fire department. So we're not done. We're in the middle of this event. The red flag parking restriction program in the city of Los Angeles is in effect today. Anybody who lives in those hillside brush areas, you cannot park your cars in those areas, and we have signs indicating such. You will be towed away. We need the roads to be clear in case there's a fire. Our fire engines can gain access and put out that fire. I'm extremely proud of the men and women of my department, as well as all the other supporting agencies. Some of them have been on duty since Monday. We do have a fresh platoon showing up today. They are in place now as we speak, and my concern over the sustainability is reduced. We're not done though. I want the public to be aware this event is not over. Many people and organizations have asked me how can they donate to the Los Angeles Fire Department. The best thing right now is to go to supportlafd.org, supportlafd.org. We use that to purchase tools and equipment for our firefighters. That is the best way to donate. Something unique today, for the first time ever, we're going to launch our drones, our UAVs. That's unmanned aerial vehicle to do property assessment. We have the visual capability. We also can look for hotspots. The drone will fly over, locate hotspots, and then we'll dispatch our firefighters to put final extinguishment in that area. So we're very, very proud of that new technology. I'd also like to express my appreciation to Cal OES, Cal Fire, FEMA. This truly is a team effort. Without their support, we would not be successful. With that, I'd like to introduce Director Giarducci.
Good morning. Thank you, Chief. Mark Giarducci, Director of the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. First of all, let me just say that we want to highlight the tremendous effort and job that has been done by the City of Los Angeles, the Fire Department, the Police Department, their emergency management, their public works. By far, a tremendous job in dealing with this emergency. Also, you know, our thoughts are with those who have lost homes. We know that these situations are never good, and we'll continue to work with the city, and the city will do everything to ensure that those losses and the people who have lost their homes are helped. Let's be clear, this has been a pretty extensive month, a couple of months here since October the 8th in California, where our public safety agencies, our fire, our law enforcement, emergency management, our communities, all have been stretched in dealing with extreme weather, extreme fire activities from Northern California to Southern California. And like here, we're seeing this wind event now that is very, very dangerous, very, very critical, that we need to continue to be vigilant, both as a community members and as public safety. In this fire here at the Skirball fire, we've continued to provide mutual aid resources from those same fire agencies from throughout California that have been dealing with all of these fires. And just 2 months ago, the City of Los Angeles had their firefighters up in Northern California fighting fires, and now we've got Northern California firefighters here on this incident. Neighbor helping neighbor, everyone is supporting each other. Currently, we have roughly 70 strike teams of engines from local government and OES, in addition to what Chief Hemlott will talk about at CAL FIRE. But we anticipate what the problems may be with these winds. So we have reached out beyond the California mutual aid system to fire agencies throughout the western U.S. And we've actually got fire agencies responding with strike teams from Montana, Utah, New Mexico, Idaho, and Nevada. And those resources will be come in and staged in anticipation of any additional problems that may arise as a result of the wind event. In addition, we've pre-positioned a number of National Guard assets, over 1,200 in armories in the Los Angeles basin, some here within the City of Los Angeles, for rapid response. And the National Guard has supported these fires with helicopters and aerial firefighting equipment on their C-130 crews out of Channel Islands. In addition, our support and our participation with FEMA has been exceptional. Early on in this fire, FEMA provided a fire management assistance grant, which is a special grant to help the fire service, law enforcement, etc., deal with the costs of these fires and be able to ensure that any resources that are necessary does get covered. Overall, we will continue to remain in a close coordination with the City of LA and our partners here, and we'll continue to provide any additional support that's necessary through the remainder of this incident or any new incidents that may break in the coming days. So with that, let me just close by saying, please be vigilant. These winds are going to be very severe over the next 24, 48 hours, and it is important that you have a plan, you stay informed, and remember the adage of ready, set, go in the event that fire starts to break in and around your community. I think with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Ken Pemlott from CAL FIRE.
Thank you to Director Ghilarducci. Both the Mayor, Chief Terraza, and Director Ghilarducci have really made the points clear about what's going on. It cannot be overemphasized the weather conditions that we're in right now. Not just here in the Los Angeles basin, but from the Central Coast all the way down and through San Diego. And as you've heard, this is the event we've been planning for ahead of this as the red flag conditions were identified. Lots of resources moving in and around, not only deployed to the emergencies, but covering fire stations and initial attacking and putting out many, many new fires around Southern California before they get large. There's a system in place and it's working. I really want to point out that fires, any emergencies in California, in particular wildland fires, know no boundaries. They burn across multiple jurisdictions, and your fire and law enforcement agencies know no boundaries in terms of the patches we wear. We all share this responsibility together and help each other out. In terms of CAL FIRE, early on in the start of this fire, provided 6 air tankers to begin that initial attack to support the ground troops on the ground. Ultimately, having 20 hand crews and 20 CAL FIRE engines here in support of this greater effort. But this effort's going on all these fires across Southern California. Almost 1,000 fire departments in California, obviously many, many law enforcement agencies, all working together seamlessly with CAL FIRE, our partner federal agencies at the U.S. Forest Service, who surround much of the land here in the LA Basin and are engaged in the firefight in many of these areas. So just in conclusion, leaving you with, we are a long way from being out of this weather event. In some cases, the worst could be yet to come in terms of the wind. We will be engaged, we will be continuing to monitor conditions and providing resources where they need to be. But we absolutely need every one of you to be paying close attention and in monitoring the conditions as well and being prepared to evacuate immediately. Thank you.
I can ask Chief Charlie Beck from LAPD just to briefly talk about, well, we've had firefighters protecting your homes, we've had LAPD personnel protecting your property. And we thank them. It's given people peace of mind that while they have been away from their homes, that both here and in the San Fernando Valley, their property is safe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And the Los Angeles Police Department continues to have about 300 personnel doing exactly that, protecting the homes of those that have had to leave them and directing traffic and making sure that everything is as safe as we can possibly make it. I again implore the public, if a police officer or a firefighter asks you to leave your home, please do so. And I want to briefly thank my cooperating law enforcement agencies. General Baldwin is here, obviously. I want to thank Warren Stanley, who's here from the Highway Patrol, and I saw Steve Zipperman also from the school police, and of course the Sheriff's Department, who are our great partners.
I'd like to ask Councilmember Paul Koretz to say a few words. This fire has been in his district, but certainly the fear of this fire and work on both sides of it has been complemented by the work Councilmember Mike Bonin and David Rue, who are both represented. I want to publicly thank both of them for their and their staff's extraordinary efforts, and give a little time to Councilmember Koretz to say a couple words.
Well, thank you, and I have a couple important messages for my district, but first, once again, I want to thank LA Fire for not only implementing a great plan, but for having a plan even before the fire started. LAPD for protecting our homes, and an incredible unified command of every resource possible, from CAL FIRE to firefighting units from all over the state, and especially Southern California. A couple things I want to ask first of my constituents. We have only had a few homes destroyed and a few homes damaged. And nobody has been injured among residents or hurt severely. That's all because of your cooperation. So number one, I would ask that folks that are anxious to get back to your homes, please don't try to get back to your home until the evacuation order is lifted. The earliest that might happen is around 3 o'clock, when the decision will be made. It could be a few hours later. So please monitor that, but don't try to sneak in and come back. The other message is, we have developers in this area, some of whom have come to work, brought their employees and their equipment to work. We are, as diplomatically as possible, asking them to leave until conditions are safe. I won't be as diplomatic. If you're a developer in the fire zone in Bel Air, get the hell out and don't come back until the evacuation order is lifted. Thank you very much for all of your cooperation. Thank you for the media for your help. And this has been almost a miraculous result. We had a more aggressive fire with lower winds in 1961, and we lost 500 homes in Bel Air. I think the amazing work and the amazing planning has made this a very different result, and I and my colleagues are very appreciative.
Thank you, Councilmember Koretz. Thank you for your lack of diplomacy and your clarity. Finally, I think we have all freeways open, but you can confirm this, Chief. We still have Getty Center Drive, Moraga Avenue, and Skirball Center Drive closed. So those exits are closed on the 405, but all freeway access in both directions remains open, both here and alongside the Creek Fire. Finalmente, en español, yo quiero decir unas palabras también. Buenos días. La situación hoy con los incendios Skirball y Creek se mantiene más o menos la misma. El incendio Skirball consume 475 acres y el incendio Creek consume 12.600 acres. Ahora el incendio Skirball es 20% contenido y el incendio Creek es 10% contenido. Afortunadamente, los vientos de anoche no fueron tan poderosos como habíamos esperado, y entonces nuestros bomberos lograron avanzar en sus esfuerzos para contener los dos incendios. Todas las órdenes de evacuación se mantienen en efecto ahora. El momento que sabemos que es seguro regresar a sus casas, les avisaremos, probablemente después de 3 en la tarde hoy. La decisión, no la orden. Hasta entonces, por favor, continúen a seguir los órdenes de la policía y de los bomberos. Su seguridad es nuestra primera prioridad. Esto es extremadamente importante. Con respecto a las órdenes de evacuación, tienen que estar en sus marcas, listas y fuera. Quisiera acabar con agradecer a nuestros colaboradores del Estado y federales, Cal OES, Cal Fire, FEMA y la Guardia Nacional, por su trabajo, sus recursos y su cooperación en este trabajo. Este es un momento que rompe el corazón de nuestra ciudad, pero también demuestra la resiliencia y la generosidad de nuestros vecinos, de los residentes de Los Ángeles. Muchísimas gracias por esto. Un mensaje final también. Es importante, si tú tienes animales, específicamente caballos, desbloquear los establos para ayudar a salvar tus caballos. Es muy importante porque perdimos muchos caballos en estos establos, desafortunadamente. With that, we're happy to take questions.
Question for Chief Terrazas. The size of the fire has not grown in about 20 hours, and now you have 20% containment. What is a realistic goal for you for the rest of the day? How much containment you could foreseeably have?
That's going to be a slow-moving number. Containment means we have a line all around the fire. When there's fuel involved, we have to cut a line with shovels and wet it down between the burned and unburned fuel. When it's bordering the freeway, we count that as a line. So a realistic number one priority will be to reassess the repopulation of the evacuated areas. At 3 o'clock, we're going to make a decision on what we can repopulate. A number I would expect containment to go up 5 to 10%.
And you said yesterday that your firefighters were stretched thin and were a bit fatigued. How are they doing now?
Much better. We have the C shift coming on duty today. They arrived at 6:30. We are assessing who needs to go home. Some of our people have been here since Sunday. The goal for that is by noon we'll have all the seats filled. All the people who need relief will be relieved, and we'll be ready to continue this effort throughout the week.
Chief, the winds are supposed to pick up again later tonight. What's your sense of what the firefighters might face moving into this evening?
It's going to be the same thing all week. We are prepared for the increasing winds. We have people in position. We're maintaining our evacuation areas where appropriate. The creek fire is a little bit different from this type of fire here in Skirball. We'll be making a decision around 3 o'clock there as well in terms of our ability to let people in. We're being extremely cautious about allowing them to return. The number one priority is people do not lose their lives. We've seen up north how that can occur. We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to educate the public and let them know why we're making those decisions.
Chief, there's mention of the barrier and containment line on the west end. Where's the most active fire front right now?
The most active is the northeastern flank. We flew the fire this morning. We noticed that. We have firefighters addressing that issue right now.
And if you can expand on the use of drones, specifically the coordination that will take place with pilots in the air to make sure everyone's safe.
Very good questions. Questions about drones and aircraft. They will not be flying at the same time. When our aircraft are down, we'll launch the drone to do our assessment and look for hotspots. I would be guessing to that number. I would assume some people have. We encourage them to listen to law enforcement and fire department personnel. We are trying to protect their safety. We can replace a house, we can't replace people.
Just to follow up on Councilor Brent's comment, is that specifically in the area that's been evacuated or further out than in LA?
My understanding is both. In the area surrounding and the area that has been evacuated, developers are still having their people come to work, bring their equipment, and operating as if nothing was going on. That absolutely should not be happening. So we are trying to find them and trying to encourage them as strongly as possible to leave the area until the evacuation order is lifted.
Even in the surrounding areas, you want that?
Yes.
Questions?
Do
All
you
right.
have any estimates for the damage?
No, we have the estimates on the number of structures. In terms of a dollar amount, no. But again, I think we have for Creek Fire 15 structures destroyed, 15 structures damaged. We think that number will probably go up. I've heard as many as 30 total. That may be that some of those are damaged and some destroyed, but about 20 in the city and 10 in the county. And then here in the Skirball fire, as has been mentioned, we had 4 structures destroyed and 12 structures damaged. So obviously it depends where you are and depends on your property. The prices may be more here, but the structures are more over there. UCLA is all safe. In fact, they are, while they canceled classes, they have, I know their personnel, professors, everybody reporting to work and working inside the offices. So the campus is open and is functioning today. Okay. Thank you all very much. See you this afternoon. Thank you very much. Good job. Appreciate you.